So, what does it look like when an ENFJ cannot stand you, when they hate you, or when an ENFJ feels slighted by you? Well, my favorite tactic is killing with kindness. And I just want to sort of explain this because I think that a lot of times ENFJs and maybe even INFJs or other NFs, but I in particular really like this tactic, is whenever you know you don't want to be argumentative and you don't want to give the other person the privilege of thinking that you are flawed, an ENFJ will kill with kindness, because whenever you respond with kindness, whenever someone is antagonizing with you and looking for a fight, then when you respond with kindness, it's not just the right thing to do. It's not just because ENFJs are prideful and on their high horse, which may or may not be true. It's also because it's the most efficient way to make the person feel like an asshole without calling them an asshole. Because if I call you an asshole, then I'm giving you the satisfaction of thinking that you are right in that situation when you're not right. And I think that that is one of the ways that ENFJs will maintain their pride in a situation, is by continuing to be kind. And you might have even seen this on some of my YouTube comments if somebody is intentionally trying to jab at me or intentionally insulting me. My response is always to sort of play dumb and be like, oh, I'm so sorry you feel that way, because it is just so much better, because I know that if people are trying to get a reaction or a rise out of me, that if I let them, then I've lost and I don't want to lose. But I'm always very aware of what's going on. And I think that most ENFJs are. We aren't dumb. Like, we know whenever you have a problem with us. We just don't choose to respond, because I very much believe that if somebody, like, I always want to be the bigger person. That's something that I've always wanted to do. My mom, who's an ESFJ, really taught this to me, like, whenever friends would ditch me or make fun of me, like, throughout my childhood. If I would want to say something back or cry about it, my mom always taught me to be the bigger person. And I think that as I got older, I mean, I clearly always want to be the bigger person, but I sort of realized how being the bigger person can, like, my need to be the bigger person doesn't always have the purest intent of just trying to be an angel, I don't know, like, trying to be the bigger person. Sometimes the motive isn't all the way pure. And if you're an ENFJ and you've ever done this, like, by being really nice, but, like, with a not totally pure motive, please comment. I would love to discuss this phenomenon. But yeah, I mean, sometimes it's like, if someone was so obviously disrespectful and rude to you, then the best response is to be nice, because only then can they really see clearly that they're the one with the problem, not you. If someone starts it and is completely rude to you and then you respond with rudeness, then eventually you can get into, like, an argument or a screaming match, or then at the end of the day it's just a he said, she said. But if you respond with, like, in a polite, respectful manner, then it speaks for itself. And then I feel like I never want to be the one to call out another person, because I feel like it's much more effective to, whenever I'm kind, then they respond by feeling guilty. And I feel like it's just much more satisfying for somebody else to feel guilty whenever they realize that you didn't mean any harm and that you were just living your life. That's so much more satisfying for me than to be like, hey, you're being mean, like, what's wrong with you? Like, or to be defensive, like, hey, I don't deserve this treatment. I don't know. Like, I think that some ENFJs, especially, like, in childhood, or younger, more immature ENFJs, they might respond defensively, and they might want to engage in a sort of argument with you, but I don't know, I just feel like it's so satisfying whenever you give someone absolutely nothing to fault you about. Like, I know I have faults, everyone has faults, but I think that your action, or your character is defined by your actions, and if your actions are always poised, polite, respectful, kind, then it's very just satisfying whenever someone isn't being that to you, to just not engage. Let me see if I could come up with an example. Like, there was an ESTP I knew who was manipulating me, and I think this ESTP didn't like me genuinely in the fact that he wanted to date me, but wanted attention from me and sort of liked the idea of me liking them, and was just sort of playing games with me, trying to like lead me on and trying to see, like, just trying to poke at me to see like if I would respond or if I would give him the attention that he craved. And it was always just really fun for me to play dumb about that and pretend like I wasn't aware that that's what he was doing, because if I just responded with kindness in everything, then I feel like I win. I don't know if that makes sense. But if I just respond with kindness, then it's like your manipulation and your games didn't work on me. So, like, sucks to be you. I don't know. But I feel like if I were to give in, or if I were to try and like be like, hey, I don't like to be treated this way, blah, 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 which, I mean, doing that has its place too. But I really do feel like when you are kind, you are killing it, because then they realize, then they're like, you're almost forcing them to introspect about why they are reacting that way to you. When you react only with kindness, then if a person reacts to you in a not kind way, then you are literally forcing them to reflect about why are they doing this? And then but if you give them something, if you give them some sort of bait, then they're gonna think like, oh, I was right. She is prideful and arrogant. She is like, thinks too highly of herself, or whatever people want to say about me. If they say that, it's like if you give in to their bait, then you don't, like, then you've lost your face. And okay, I feel like I'm saying this in a bunch of different ways, and so a lot of you probably already clicked out of this video by now because it might be repetitive, but I'm trying to just say it in a bunch of different ways so that we all understand, like that, for some of you that might not have gotten my point at first, can understand it. So yeah, I think that this works. I think that it gets the result that I want when I'm kind, because I get to keep my pride, and I also really trust the universe to like do its thing. Like, if I'm kind and the other person's not kind, then behind closed doors, that person is going to feel either the guilt or the shame or whatever bad feeling they have. Like, people don't, like, I know people who are rude and disrespectful, they don't get to sleep, they don't get to like sleep at night easily. Even if it looks like they do, like, that's an act. Like, if somebody has poor character, then it keeps them up at night. They think about, oh, why did I do that? Like, I really do think that genuinely all people are good deep down, and I don't think that anyone is just that bad of a person that if they do something wrong that they don't know. Like, and I mean, I might be a little biased, like, as an introverted intuitive, as an NJ, I feel this very strongly every time I like mess up. I'm very aware of what my inner self is saying. I know that some people might be more detached from that than others, but I guarantee that if someone if someone shows poor character, then they're gonna know at the end of the day, like those thoughts racing before their brain. And I would so much rather torture them with those thoughts, like let them torture themselves with those thoughts, than my words, because I feel like it's just more effective. If I used my words to tell you why you're doing something wrong, you probably aren't going to listen to me. And so it's just much more effective to, if I'm kind, then I don't have anything keeping me up at night. I get to continue being myself, and then you get to think about your behavior on your own time. So yeah, this is, I feel like, a very classic ENFJ technique for dealing with people. And if you are not an ENFJ, if you are, let's say, an INFP or an INTP or an INTJ who thinks that an ENFJ is manipulative, and you think that this is one of the reasons why ENFJs seem manipulative, I'm very curious about that, because I don't know, maybe it is manipulative. Let me know. I don't feel like it is necessarily a bad thing. I think it's a good choice to be kind. I don't really think that there's many arguments you can make to say that you shouldn't be kind. I mean, if you have an argument, let me know. But thanks for watching this video, and happy Monday. I hope you have a terrific week.